This video may contain scenes that are distressing for people who went through this fire in 2009. I'm asking for anyone who went through this fire not to watch this, please. G'day everyone, my name's Rick James Festival, also with you working 446 on our Let's Play Dig on. Welcome to part 6 of Inside Firestorm. This one might be a bit extra because part 5 with a bit of stuff up. When it's got this 2-bit same picture as town of Melliesville. I don't know what happened there, but cut out from there. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
I just looked directly up above, and here was what would normally have.
And I also hope you like my beanie too.
Cumulus clouds, except that it was pretty obvious it was smoke directly above me, like 12 o'clock high, and covering half the town. I mean, that was pretty dramatic. I really had no idea, but I thought that has got to be very, very close.
Amateur cameraman Darryl Hull works at the Crossways Inn. His boss Greg and his wife Pam have been busy there all day. It's only now that they notice the smoke.
A fire plan hadn't come into my mind at that stage, but at 5 o'clock I did ring my daughter and spoke to her husband and said, have you heard anything on the news? Or can you have a look? Can you check websites? And they quickly did that while I was on the phone, some of it. There were no updates at that point, about 5 o'clock.
The system broke down.
I just said, we'll try to keep in touch. This feels to me very grim.
It does.
The sensation is that I don't think we're doing a night's work tonight. Something's very, very close, you know, so we had to keep our eyes on it. At which point I started to walk towards the oval just to see what was there. And the first shots I took of the oval, it was empty, which I thought was unusual. The rule in town was, if ever there was trouble of any kind in town, that you'd head to the oval. And after I'd been filming for a while, I heard the siren go off twice. And I'm thinking, right, danger is upon us. And then it cut out.
However, the siren is not to alert locals, but CFA members. And because they're already out fighting fires, it's switched off.
God damn it.
When the siren cut out, I automatically thought, false alarm. Okay, I don't have to worry to the degree that I would have. If the siren had kept going,
yeah,
you would know
shit would hit the fan.
We've got trouble.
They're sprinkling their house, and Jonathan's up on the roof. He's filled the downpipes with rags.
Just 10 kilometres north of Marysville, the Densons in Buxton have been preparing their home for well over an hour. As city dwellers for much of their lives, they've never confronted a bushfire before.
None of them would have if they were city dwellers.
How Way would set up the fire plan and stuff, how much it was predicated on not wanting to.
So if you're an Aussie, we're all hard and bastards.
City that we're just as tough and fire hardy as the locals.
Jonathan leaves the hosing and his pregnant wife to take a look at the smoke from the nearby ridge.
Just as I'm looking at it, dully trying to make up my mind, the flame came up. I could see the fire at the top of the far ridge, which is probably about 2 kilometres away, maybe a bit less. The big ridge above Buxton. I could actually see the flame.
And
all of a sudden,
running through your mind, what the fuck am I doing?
I went, what am I doing? That's enough. Let's just
get out of there.
It's safe. Why don't we just leave now?
Fucking go, fucking go.
In Kinglake West, The fire has passed through, but the area will
You
burn
see,
for many hours.
I was in my
This house is saved.
the fire was
Just
closest to
down
me
the
was
road,
Bendigo
Jason Lynn
and
lays in
Kilmore.
the middle of his paddock, barely
It was
conscious.
Axel that it was in
Everything
Axel
around
that
him
day.
destroyed.
Those two fires was closest to
And
me.
then his mobile rings. His boss
So
is on the
maybe
line.
Bendigo didn't get burnt down
He said to me, I can
and was
remember
coming
him
towards
saying to me, though,
Axdale.
get the dam. Yeah,
Kilmore was
get the dam.
going towards Melbourne. So don't have to worry about that one.
Kept going.
Then I heard Seymour was on fire. I'm like, you're
If I just hung
joking.
up on
Seymour,
fire, I'd just-
outskirts of
yeah.
Seymour's on fire. Come
I'll
on,
find
really?
Give it another go, because it's just getting too hot laying here, and I'm just getting too weak. So I just crawled along, and I felt the downwards bit, and I just crawled down, felt where the water was, turned around, and just crawled in
Just checking the
backwards,
time.
and just lay there. I didn't know what was going to happen to me. I didn't think anyone would come up. I didn't know how long I could hang on, you know. If I die like this is just worse. And yet, I suppose too, I was actually thinking, like, my kids, what will it be like for them growing up?
Jason's children, Joshua and Julia, and their mother Ruth, fled just before the fire arrived. Their whereabouts is unknown, but it seems Jason, at least, has been found.
I could hear people's voices, but I couldn't shout out and say, oh, I'm down here or anything. I'm just laying there. And then I heard someone say, he's down in here. I could hardly talk. And he said, can you squeeze my hand? And I could squeeze his hand. And he said to me, he goes, oh, well, if you made it this far, you'll be right now, mate. And then straight away, almost instantly, your mind shifts to my wife, Ruth, and my two kids, Joshua and Julia. Like, what happened to them?
One news reporter.
Jason's next-door
Doing news.
neighbours have already lost their fight to survive. The former Channel 9 newsreader, Brian Naylor, and his wife, Moiri, were fully prepared to stay and defend. 14 more perish in Kinglake West alone. It's just after 5:30. An enormous smoke plume hangs over pretty Marysville. The town receives its first official radio warning.
So we've got an existing threat message out for the community of Narberthong, which came under Ember attack this afternoon. We're now extending that threat message to include the communities of Marysville and Buxton, which we also expect to come under direct attack from this fire.
Less than a kilometre from the Oval, spot fires have already broken out on Kings Road. The CFA captain is at the scene.
We ended up with both Marysville tanker and the Marysville pumper. So virtually we had our entire crew up there, and we're all good friends and mates. My son Callan was on the pumper crew. So of course I was quite concerned for Callan's welfare.
Pam at the Crossways Inn knows it's time for her and her husband Greg
To
to
leave.
make a decision.
I went out the back and said to Greg, what should I do? Because the wind suddenly became so very strong. I said, should I go? Should I stay? Can I help you? He said, at this moment, every person must make their own decision. And he went on with his work, and I said, I have to go. We didn't even really have time to say anything else, or goodbyes, or good lucks, or anything. I left him with the hose. Yeah.
"6:15, and CFA strike teams from other towns are on their way to help.
I was aware of cars fleeing in the other direction intermittently at high speeds, and of a horrible purple, brown, black, boiling, cumulus column of hell above Marysville, and I remember saying to Jamie in the front seat, Jamie, this is something beyond anything I could have even imagined.
Beyond anyone else
Darrell
could
Hull
imagine
has
too,
already
mate.
taken refuge at the Oval.
Smoke was very evidently over the back of Mount Kitchener. It was apparent that there was trouble looming, I mean serious trouble. And then at around about that time, the police came screaming down.
I saw the police car come into the Oval. They did a circle and they were just telling people to head for Alexandra, to get out, really.
Pam was very concerned that I should get in the car with her, but I couldn't do that. I didn't like the thought of a convoy of cars, and with that
I've been to
thought that the
Maryville
fire was possibly
already.
already ahead of us,
Like 2 to
the
3
only
years
vision I
after I
could
went
think
free
of was burnt out
on the
wrecks
camp
beside the
for school.
highway where people had died in cars, and I thought that's not going to be my end. I'm not going to do it that way. I was going to the lake and I was going to make sure that happened.
Others in Marysville are going nowhere. Greg Cherry is ready to defend the Crossways Inn.
Well, I heard it from that day,
His wife
90%
Pam
of the town
lives in the police
was
convoy.
completely destroyed. The 10% wasn't.
I glanced
And only those
quickly at the
10% was
crossways.
original buildings in the Oval.
I just hoped he'd got in another car and gone already. It didn't feel as though there was time to stop, and I knew he wouldn't come. If he were still here, he wouldn't leave. He'd already said he'd stay. Yeah, stay with the place, try and save it.
Glenn Fisk has left the spot fires on King's Road and is on the way to the CFA shed. But first, there's his wife Liz and youngest son to see.
When I got up the driveway, Dalton met me at the door, and said that Mum was on the phone. I said, "I'll leave Mum on the phone. You're looking pretty right." He was dressed in his in overalls, and he had goggles, and he had gloves on. He had firefighter's boots on. He was he'd done all of his preparation. I said to him to look after his mum and to make some good decisions. And I left him there then.
If you want,
and
I can
proceeded
go
back
around
back to the
where
fire
Black
station.
Star Day hit and find my nan's place, and down at the Bendigo gold mine in front of the gold mine hotel,
Fires are raging right across the
and
state.
show you the memorial the
Another
Bendigo
major
has
blaze
there.
will soon start at Beechworth. Towns have already been obliterated. At least 50 lives already lost.
Jesus,
But everything is about to get worse. Much worse.
true.
Gale force northerly winds have pushed all today's major fires to the southeast.
And this actually saved
But
Bendigo
the
from
wind
getting
is
completely
starting to
destroyed.
shift direction.
But some
Southerly change
other places weren't
begins
that
to
lucky.
push the fires northeast. The effect will be devastating.
It is.
That's the
It
fear
was.
of everyone. That's everybody's fear, is that if you haven't got the eastern flank of the fire controlled, it's going to turn and push. And that's what it did. That's what it does, and that's what it did.
And what happens on the wind change is that 50 kilometre flank of the fire then suddenly becomes the head of the fire. So instead of having about a 5 or 6 kilometre wide fire, we've now got a 50 kilometre wide fire after the wind change.
And this is exactly what's happening to the
Oh,
fire
God.
that started at Kilmore East. The 50-kilometre
I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm not saying hope, but I all enjoyed. I'm just used to saying it. Just like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next one. Goodbye. Farewell. Amen. Thank you for watching.
We're from Bendigo, a fighting fury, we're from Bendigo. In any weather you will see us with a grin, risking head and skin. If we're behind then never mind, we'll fight and win. No, we're from Bendigo.